What is up, everyone? Welcome to It's Been a Week. I'm your host, Ben McDonald, and this is your weekly dose of whatever the hell just happened. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to It's Been a Week. This week's episode is going to be a mini-sode, which means it's going to be fucking short. And the reason it's going to be short is the only excuse that I can give you. I'm fucking tired. I am exhausted. I got home at 2 a.m. last night from this insane vacation. And I'm really tired. So I'm going to give you a recap on the trip because it was fucking crazy. I also have the trip didn't really start out amazing for me. So we're going to talk about that. And then next week, we're going to be back with full-on regular episodes, back to where we go. But for this week, enjoy a little mini episode because maybe you don't have as much time this week. I don't know. But here's your little catch-up. So let's get into it. So for anyone that follows me on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, you've probably seen over the last couple of weeks that I have been on this insane trip in the Caribbean on this insane yacht. So my best friend, she owns this boat called KAOS, which is, I don't even know how to describe it. It is the most gorgeous, beautiful, insane, biggest boat you've ever seen. That's just the only way to describe it. And AJ and I have been so lucky that we have been able to go on we were on I think this is our 4th or 5th time on KAOS. I don't know. And every time we go, you never get used to it. It never loses it. The magic just becomes more magical. It's crazy. So shout out to my friend Paige. Thank you so much for inviting us. Thank you so much for including us in all this magic. It truly is like life-changing. I don't even know how to describe this to all of you guys. Like, you get on the boat, you never see your suitcases. They unpack all your clothing. They steam your clothing. When you leave, they pack your bags up and they wrap it in tissue paper like you bring your clothes home better than they were when you bought them. It's crazy. The people that work on the boat are the friendliest and the most like attentive, and you get treated like royalty. It really is something special, but we're just so lucky that we get to go experience this. And it's because of Paige that I have literally been able to see the world. I've traveled to places I never thought I'd be able to go, in the most insane way. And there's just no other way, nothing else to say besides thank you. So very thankful. This trip though, boy, did it's been a week. It started out a little rough for me. So when we were in Miami the week before, we were at our friend's birthday and we went to this brunch and we were there for hours. And I was sitting on the end of the table and it was a long table. So I remember I had my elbows on the table and you're like you're talking to everyone and you're leaning this way and you're leaning that way. I remember when I left, I like looked at my elbow and I was like, oh God, I got like it was like a scratch. It was like from rubbing on the table, for hours, like, cause my elbow was just sitting there. So I got this little tiny little scratch. Didn't even think anything of it. Whatever. All is good. The night before we're leaving for the boat trip, I'm sitting on the couch and I was like, oh my God, my elbow kind of hurts. I'm like, what is going on? So I was like, God, I must have scratched it or hit it. And my trainer, we had worked out really hard that day and he had me do like 60 fucking push-ups. So I was like, God, did I like pull a muscle or something happen? So I was like, whatever. Took some Advil, went to bed, woke up and I was like, God, my elbow still hurts. And I looked at AJ, I go, is it a little swollen? And he was like, maybe a little. So I just took some more Advil. I was like, whatever, we'll be fine. Get into the airplane. And as we are up in the air, all of a sudden I'm like, God, my elbow is really like, it's starting to like throb. And I'm like, what is going on? And it's starting, as I'm in the air, I can feel my elbow starting to swell. Like my elbow's getting bigger. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I was like, and it kept hurting. So I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to take more Advil, keep taking more Advil and, anti-inflammatory. In my head, I'm like, that'll be great. By the time we land and get to the boat, I'm like in excruciating pain. And I was like, holy shit. So we get on the boat. Literally, I was like, hi, Paige. Hi, everyone. Great to see you guys. And then I'm like, I have a little situation. And I had been Googling on the plane, like things that can, like if you overwork out, if you do this, if you do that, like all these different scenarios of what could have happened, which I was kind of hoping like I could just ice it and go away. Yeah, not so much. So Paige is like, we're bringing a doctor on board. Like your arm is giant. And I was like, oh, fuck. So we bring a doctor on the boat. they're like, you have a severe skin infection. Apparently, the elbow is a really dangerous place because it's just, there's no fat. It's just like skin to bone. And he's like, you have a severe skin infection. And he's like, so just so you know, it's going to get much worse before it gets better. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, your whole hand's going to swell, your elbow, like your wrist, like it's going to go all the way up your arm with this infection. And I'm like, what? So they put me on these, like, well, the first day I like got on these antibiotics plus like this antibiotic cream. Turns out that was the wrong thing to do. Then when the doctor came on, he was like, yeah, wrong antibiotic. So quit that one. We're going to get you on this other one that's like the super strong one that's meant for skin infections. And he goes, oh, and by the way, don't take any Advil or ibuprofen. That's only going to make it worse. He goes like, have you taken any? And I was like 3 pills every like 4 hours. Yeah. And he's like, okay, so that has escalated the situation. That is not good. I'm like, son of a bitch. Luckily he was like, I don't know, he was like pinching my bone and he's like, okay, does that hurt? And I'm like, well, not really. And he's like, because if it was a bone infection, he's like, we need to get off the boat. You need to get to the hospital. It was going to be this whole fucking thing. So luckily it was just this severe fucking skin infection. So, and it wasn't staph. It wasn't some other one. It was just like a weird, he's like, the cut was so small. He's like, the infection got in there and it like couldn't get out. And now it's going up and down your arm. Mind you, we're in St. Barts. So the doctor's like mostly speaking French. So I'm like trying to pick up what the fuck he's saying. Not really. I'm like, yeah, right. So I was like, okay, so can I still drink while doing this? And he was like, I mean, we're French. He goes, you can drink wine and rosé. And I'm like, okay, well, I kind of want to drink vodka. But I was like, whatever. Alcohol is alcohol. It'll be fine. And then he was like, we got a little bit better translation. He's like, you can drink on the antibiotics, but the antibiotics just might not work as well if you drink. And I'm like, well, that's a risk I'm willing to take. So the first night of the trip, the first night when we went out, we went to this club, which is it's called the T. It's such a fun club. It's like this sexy cabaret, these dancers, and then it turns into a full on raging party and everyone's wearing costumes and it's wild. Well, that was the only night I didn't drink because it was, at this point, I had 4 different antibiotics in my body. And I was like, there's like, my body's going like, what the fuck's going on? So I was like, I probably shouldn't drink for the first night. So I stayed, whatever, sober and still had a great time. And then after that, the next day, I was like, okay, it's game on. I started drinking. But if you see in a lot of my photos, I literally have like a bandage around my elbow and everyone's like, what has happened to you? And I'm like, yeah, just you wait. And I'm still on the antibiotics because I have to be on them for 12 fucking days. So luckily I didn't die. I made it home. There were the first few days, like the swelling was so bad. My pain was like excruciating. Like I didn't sleep because if I moved my arm, like any movement of my arm, the pain would wake me up. So I was waking up literally every 10 minutes. So the first few nights on the trip, I didn't sleep. It was in so much pain. Like literally, I'm not a little bitch when it comes to pain, for real. Like I'm actually pretty tough. And there were days it was like 10 out of 10. But I trucked on through. I didn't miss a single thing. I didn't miss one event. I think one night we got back to the boat and I was like, I got to go to bed. I went to bed early, but that was it. I made it to everything. So it was all good. It was still an amazing trip, even though my fucking arm almost fell off. But thank God I went with my friends who are like, we're bringing a doctor on to see you and didn't just like leave me to die. So again, thank you to them for that. But overall, like most insane best trip. Every time we go on one of these trips, it just makes you feel like, I don't know, so lucky and it's just such a great way to see the world and go to different places. And, I even made a speech on the boat saying like, when you travel with because even though the boat is giant, there was like 14 of us that were guests. And it's like going to camp. It's like the 14 of us, we're all sharing this space together. We're living on this boat together. So by the end of it, like you really do become like best friends. So it was just such a fun experience. We went to some of my favorite places in the world. We were in St. Barts. We went to Nikki Beach and Lagarite, which are like you pretend like you're gonna eat, but you don't really eat because it's like the music starts, the DJ starts, you're on your chair, you're on tables dancing. Nikki Beach is like beyond wild. Like it's on Sunday and you think, oh, it's like a brunch. No, this is like I think my ears are still damaged from how loud the music was, but it's the fucking best. So if anyone ever has the opportunity I highly recommend you go to St. Barts, you find Nikki Beach. I think there's Nikki Beach. There's one in Miami, Saint Tropez, and St. Barts. I think there's probably more. But if you ever have the opportunity to go to one of these places, just fucking go. Or like the cabaret. It's so, you would never find something like that in America. Like, it's so sexy and provocative and just like fun, but you will never find a show like that in America because I don't know, everyone's too fucking uptight and it's like, ooh, and it's like, no, it's like you just are sitting there having dinner, staring at these gorgeous people with these beautiful bodies, dancing and doing these sexy dances. Like, it's fun. Like, I don't know. I just think everyone needs to let loose and have fun. It is literally the most, I don't know. It's, you need to experience it. People need to step out of their fucking comfort zone and do shit like this because it's fun. It's like, it's exciting. Like, that's what life's about, not being so fucking stuck up. Where else did we go? So then we went to, after St. Bart's, we went to this place called Pinnell Island, which is this like private little island where like people pay, like, you get on like a little ferry and they can come in. We came in on one of our tenders and we just spent the day there, and they have like this banana rum and you eat like fried food. I mean, it was like burgers and lobster and French fries and I don't know, just like good food. And then you stand in the ocean. They have tables in the ocean. So you just hang out in the ocean and you drink. We did find a hermit crab. Shout out to Darnell. And we ended up bringing him back on board because we were drunk and we were making stupid decisions. But so we brought the hermit crab back on board and then realized, what the fuck are we doing with a hermit crab on the boat? And we then we went to this other island, Barbuda. Barbuda? Is that what it's called? I think it was Barbuda because they had this new Nobu there. So we went there and we released Darnell because they had a bunch of other hermit crabs there, only to find out that on this island, hermit crabs are actually a delicacy. A delicacy. The brain is not functioning on all cylinders today, so I have to apologize. But they eat the hermit crabs on this island. So we kind of fucked Darnell. We brought him to the worst possible island we could have. So hopefully he outsmarts the other, or hopefully he's smarter than the other hermit crabs and doesn't get put into a blender. But I also think when he tells the other hermit crabs, like, I showed up on a super yacht, they're no one's gonna believe him. Like, the other hermit crabs are not gonna believe Darnell, which that sucks too. But the reason we went to this island is because it was supposed to be pink beaches, pink sand. Wasn't quite pink. It was just pretty much normal sand, but that was still gorgeous. It was great. We had an amazing time. And we sailed around to some other islands. We did some days on the boat where we just would like go jet skiing. And there's this thing called the foil. It's like a, how do I even describe this? I don't know, like a surfboard that like comes out of the water with like a propeller on it. I don't know. Google it. It's crazy. And then Paige's husband had his birthday party, which was supposed to be on this beach. And due to some weather, we had to readjust and move it to this villa, which happened to be like, I actually think way better than the beach would have ever been. We were so up high. We had this amazing view, the sunset. It was gorgeous. I don't even know what else. It was just like, I don't know. If you've watched my stories, you probably saw every day I was dancing on a different table, and it was just a fucking great time. And it was one of the best weeks of my life. So it's been a week. It's been a great fucking week. Minus my arm, which I do think the swelling's still not completely down. So I have 2 more days left on my antibiotics, and then I think I'm going to head on over to my local doctor and get that assessed. I don't know if they need to drain it. I don't know if because the one doctor said we might need to cut it open and lance it. I don't know. So I'll keep you guys posted on what the fuck's happening with the elbow. But it's really all I got for you guys this week. I know it's short. I don't have a lot to say. My brain is fried. My body is fried. My liver is destroyed. I just need a few days to re-enter back into reality, to readjust, and I will be back at you guys next week with a full episode, all the good shit, back to what we're normally talking about, which who the fuck even knows what we're talking about, because I feel like it's all over the map. But I'd love to hear from you guys. I'd love to hear what you guys are loving, what you're not liking, if you're going to keep listening, or if you're over it. I'd love to hear it. So DM me, email me. There's merch. If you want merch, head over to itsbeenaweek.com. Go to the merch store. People are loving the merch. And I don't know, guys. That's all I got because I can't fucking barely form a sentence. So this is our first mini-sode, but if not, either way, I appreciate you listening. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next Tuesday. Thank you for listening to that episode of It's Been a Week, but don't touch that dial because it's not over yet. Get ready for the after show, Been There, Done That with AJ, where we're going to get AJ's take on whatever the fuck I just said. All right, welcome to Been There, Done That with Mr. AJ.
Wow, what a week.
What an insane week.
I mean, unreal. Such an incredible time. You sound exhausted.
I want to crawl in bed. I am so fucking tired.
We have been in bed all day.
I know. And I woke up to do this podcast, but I just want to go back to bed.
I know.
We traveled all day yesterday. We got home at like 2 a.m. We've been running nonstop for a month. My body is like, fuck you.
I know, but here's the deal. Like, it was so fun to go to some new places, and the group of people was amazing. Like, we just had the best time, literally on this massive yacht with this big swimming pool that I absolutely love. And all the people that work on the boat are just like the greatest people ever. They're so kind and so sweet and so attentive, and it's unreal. Like, you wake up in the morning. This morning I woke up and I'm like, wait, who's going to ask me what I want for breakfast?
I know, coming back into real reality is a bitch because I'm like, who's going to do our laundry? Who's making our beds? Who's cooking our food? Who's going to just serve us drinks while we're laying by the pool? I mean, the amount of spoiledness that we get is just
Unbelievable.
I
mean, you have to experience it. And like, when you do get to experience, and I think this is what you were talking about in the episode in general of travel, you have to go places, you have to do things in life to open up perspective, because the hope is that when you see something different and see something new and experience something new, then you come back to life, like the thing that you live every day, and maybe you are able to see it a little bit differently. And I can assure you that through all of these experiences that we get to have, especially with Paige and going on Chaos, it just reminds me of how grateful I am. I remember that time that we were with her and we were on a helicopter and I was crying, and you looked at me and you're like, why are you crying? And I'm like, I'm crying because I'm just so happy. I'm so grateful. I literally was just looking out the window crying, being like, how lucky am I to be able to do something that so few people in the world will get to experience. And I think all of us, no matter at what level of unique experiences we can have, they all are unique. We all should take time to not only do them, but to reflect on them and think about what you learn from them and what you gain from them, because that's where life grows and changes. And I'm just so thankful and grateful and exhausted as well. But I am energized just thinking about, like, pulling up on a beach with a boat where the front opens up, and it from that we walk down across the water and onto the sand.
Yeah, one of the tenders on the boat. So Chaos is the big boat, and it gives birth to like 4 other boats. And one of the tenders, that literally it goes up to the beach, in the front of the boat, it just flips open and it creates a bridge so you can get off the boat without getting into the water. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
And then, we got to snorkel, and like, I don't even really love being in the ocean. And this time around, I was like, let's go.
You were fucking Scuba Steve this trip. I can barely ever get AJ into the ocean because he's so scared of the water. We went to this one place. It's called, what was it called? Willie T's. Willie T's. Okay. And it is like it's like a abandoned ship in the middle of the ocean that they've made into a bar and restaurant. Like, everyone probably needs a tetanus shot. And we get there, we go upstairs. We weren't there for more than 3 minutes, and AJ rips his shirt off and jumps off of the restaurant into the ocean.
I didn't even see the sign that said no jumping, no diving, because I knew like people jump. I saw someone standing there. So I thought, if I don't do it right now, I might not ever do it. So I climb over the rail and I'm like, I'm going to jump. And then this person next to me looks at me and goes, do you want to hold my hand, or will you hold my hand? And I was like, okay. I thought it was like a 12-year-old girl being like, will you hold my hand? And I was like, of course, like, I'll hold your hand and we'll jump in.
No, this was a 40-year-old woman with the biggest tits you've ever seen. It was like triple D's. And he's like, she was a little 12-year-old girl. I'm like, but she wasn't.
Well, I didn't know that. And when we went to jump, because she wasn't a 12-year-old girl and she was probably either the same weight as me or more, I jumped out and she just like jumped down. And so as a result of that, She went straight into the water, and I'm leaping out to, have a nice jump away from this barge or whatever it is. And we're still holding hands. And next thing I know, I'm sideways, slapping the water sideways. The amount of black and blues that are on my body from this is unreal.
I actually think we need to post the video of you jumping in, because he literally, there's like a belly flop, there's a back flop. He did a side flop, and I didn't even know that was a thing. But this bitch pulled you down. The next day, he was black. His whole side of his body was black and blue.
But it was an amazing trip. Thank you so much, Paige and Alex. Thank you so much for inviting us on another trip. It was just incredible, and I had the best time. And what else is great is that we have friends like that we get to spend this time with, and some of those friends we've developed deeper relationships with. But every time you're on the boat, you always develop a deeper relationship, even if it's someone that you just happen to have met once before. And there was some people like that on this trip, and I can't wait to continue to grow our friendship with them. It was just incredible, and we're still decompressing. So Ben's whole episode is literally like the come down from how just incredible it is, and it's gonna take us a few days. Like,
I just need a few days to re-enter reality.
I mean, we have some stuff on Thursday and Friday night of this week, and I know we're gonna be ready for it, but it's literally gonna take us until then
to be ready.
So
where it's just exhausting. I know it's first world problems. Everyone's like, shut the fuck up. You're exhausted from partying. Well, yeah, we are.
No, but I mean, anyone that goes on a vacation oftentimes comes back and is like, I need another vacation from the vacation. And that's, at the end of the day, I think that means that you've really enjoyed yourself. And I sure the fuck did. So
we still have to unpack. This is the first time in my life. Usually when I get home from vacation, I unpack before, like the night of.
I know.
I haven't even looked at my suitcase, but I know that all my clothes in there are clean.
I know,
pressed
we're so lucky.
and wrapped in tissue paper. So I'm like, it looks fine. I don't have to deal with that.
It's unreal.
Yeah. I guess the point of what I was saying is, no, does everyone get the opportunity to like go on a giant yacht and, take off on a helicopter to lunch? No. But every opportunity that does come your way, I just feel like people should say yes and do it.
100%. I mean, be a yes person.
Say yes. Yeah. And don't be so uptight. Because don't you think like those cabaret shows and shit, there's nothing like that in America.
Yeah, I mean, there are like the box in NYC, but it's very few and far between. But like, there's not a lot of it, and I think it's because when people also go away, and I bet your listeners will agree with this, you take on, imagination and fantasy, and you allow yourself to sometimes be another version of yourself, and that's why it's important to travel. That being said, it would be really cool, or it is cool, when you start to see things of other places of the world show up in your own backyard. And for what it's worth, maybe we're just going to need to make one of those someday.
I would. I don't know how well it would do in Texas, but I bet it would do well in like LA or Miami.
Yeah, I mean, could even be a fun little pop-up thing to try for a month, and
I'll be your cabaret dancer.
I'll be the MC.
There you go. Okay, is there anything else you want to touch on?
Until for now, no, but I'm sure we're going to talk about this more, because once we do decompress, I'm going to think about so many more things. Like our friends, Alex had this amazing birthday party that Ben told you about, and Paige flew in a really, really, really cool DJ from Italy, and his music's so unique and so cool, and it was really fun to meet them. The band that they had at the party
was amazing.
Like, there was like more band members than there was of us attending the party.
I wondered, that band, they have, when Paige hired them, they're probably thinking like it's going to be a huge event.
They probably thought it was like 200 people.
Right. And I wonder what they thought when they were there, and it's like there's 14 of us just like raging. They're probably like, what the fuck?
We can hold it down. 14 of us can hold it down.
Yes.
And I got a chance to sing with the band, so I'm really excited about that. Because
one of my favorite parts is Allison, she works on the boat. She said when they went to look at the villa, they had this really nice pool table, and she said it was like marble and all this shit. And she goes, we do have one guest that will be on top of that, so we need to lay like plywood or something over it. As you can imagine, I was the one guest, so
they looked at her and they're like, okay. And like, I'm not sure if they fully believed it, but they were like, okay. And the minute that Ben got up the table, she just looked over to the people and was like,
told ya.
Well,
I'm predictable. What can I say? I love to be on a table. I think there'll be more to talk about, but I think we're just fucking fried.
Yeah.
We're going to bed. Let's go to bed.
Yeah.
What time is it? It's like 6:00. Let's go to bed.
Yeah. Go watch some more shows and fall asleep during them and have to rewatch them.
Watch some more White Lotus. love that shit.
Absolutely.
All right, everyone. That's all we got. We've given you all we fucking got this week because we're fucking exhausted. Fuck.
Love y'all.
See you next Tuesday. What is up, everyone? I have a question for you. Have you ever done something so wild, so hilarious, or so ridiculous that your friends are still talking about it? Do you have a story that happened to you this week that are going to leave jaws on the floor? Well, here's your chance to tell it on It's Been a Week. Head over to itsbeenaweek.com, scroll down to the bottom, and let me know why you should be the next guest. Bring me the drama, the chaos, and the laughs. I want it all. No story is too crazy, no perspective too bold, and nothing is off limits. So, let's pour a martini, spill the tea, and make a conversation to remember. Submit now, and I cannot wait to talk to you soon.